Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Public Works Committee. It's August 5th, 2021, 7 p.m. 7:02 p.m. I stand corrected. We'll have the roll call. It looks like we have Barbara Smith, we have Ann Winterstrand and myself. It does not appear that we have a quorum this evening, so we'll go ahead with the meeting, and we will not have any, we will not take any votes until the time we do have a quorum. So the exception of the minutes, we will postpone the exception of the minutes, acceptance of the minutes until we have a quorum. We'll push that till our next meeting. Do we have anybody on the line for public participation?
We do. Ms. Laura Teller, you're unmuted.
Okay, good evening, Chair Frayer and members of council and staff. For the record, my name is Diane Lauricella. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. I look forward to the first Tuesday of the month because this is one of my favorite committees. And for quite a few years, many, many years, I have attempted to offer.
For good reason.
Huh?
It's for good reason that you look forward to seeing us.
Exactly. Anyway, so tonight, I wanted just to offer some suggestions and I have a question. Number one, I will be reviewing the recording. I do still hope to get a copy of the public education plan then that we were told Win Waste had produced in order to help the city when they got the new contract. But my main focus.
Diane, could I just remind you that any comments you make have to be be relevant to the agenda that we have this evening?
Yes, and they are, Chairman, because it has to do with solid waste, and there's a report at the end of your agenda. So I like to take back the 30 seconds that you took because I know you keep track. So going on to the agenda items, what I just said was very relevant, but the thing is on the street sweeping contract that you will be deliberating tonight, I wanted to know if the $130 per ton for the street sweeping includes toxic testing, because my understanding is that is also something that the hauler and the final resting place of the street sweepings, so I want to make sure that we're not going to be paying for testing as well. I think $130 a ton for street sweepings is quite steep. And I really feel they should go back to the drawing board to see if someone could find a cheaper disposal, because it's even a little more money, I think, than our trash. Secondly, and lastly, on the yard waste, I ask that you go back to the drawing board because this particular contract back in 2021, when city carting was still in place as we know it, there was discussion, I'm on the record, and others had mentioned that we need to start finding more innovative and optimized ways that we can actually utilize our leaves and at least some of our yard waste in our city and especially so that the public receives at least some mulch back, like many other towns do. And this contract, again, is a amendment. You're asking for an extension. All that does is kick the can down the road for us to have a much more holistic approach of yard waste. That includes the possibility of reaching out to towns like New Canaan, who already have a yard waste place where they do recycle their leaves. Maybe they would do some business with us. Maybe it could be converted to taking food waste. I do believe Cranberry Park and, quite frankly, Taylor Farm would be terrific places to do mini leaf and yard waste and food waste recycling, so that we have compost and mulch that the parks can use, that we create ourselves, because right now we're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars and just taking it away, out of sight, out of mind. This is not a new topic. So I ask that we go back to the drawing board. I'd like to know what are the plans by the staff and all of you to make sure we're approaching the issue of yard waste in a much more sustainable and resilient way, since we are attempting to be the greenest city. I thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would offer, would like to speak?
There is not.
Okay, then we'll close the public participation at 7:08. Under new business, we have authorized the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute an amendment to the December 23rd, 2024 agreement between the City of Norwalk and ARC Document Solutions, LLC, for project 4370 document scanning services for an amount not to exceed $228,745. Account numbers noted. We can go ahead and have some, we can have a motion, but we can't vote on it. So why don't we suspend the motion and let's have a discussion on it. And I think we have, can Aaron talk about this subject?
Yes, he can. Aaron, do you mind give a little bit of an update of what is this item?
All right, so I can give a summary of the whole thing, and I can try to keep it brief if you wish. But so we currently have some software we use for storing and retrieving large format drawings digitally, and we've been using it for a number of years. But it's proven to be it's got a lot of capabilities. In fact, more capabilities than we need. So it makes managing it and making changes to it and even maintaining it from the IT side difficult. And so we've been looking for a few years for an alternative that to just make the process of retrieving documents easier. And we're looking to add more documents to it as well. We've got at least roughly 4,000 drawings, give or take, that we still need to put into the system. And the process of doing so can be extremely time consuming because basically in order to make the maps retrievable, you have to put in keywords and you have to assign the keywords correctly per map. And unfortunately, we do not have internally the staff to do that in any sort of reasonable rate while doing what we need to do. So that's basically the intention of this item here.
Do you have any questions for Aaron on this? Aaron, I assume that this is going to mean that we'll be able to save this will save quite a bit of time on behalf of the staff. Would that be a good assumption?
That's correct. Right now, we have to look through many different sources to get a complete idea of any given record search. The intent of going through this process is to make it extremely convenient, where it be a near complete, accurate single location for easily retrieving documents.
So is this going to be is this for 1 year, or is it going to be an annual fee that we have to pay them to renew it?
So there is the one-time fee of doing all the work, and then there will be an annual fee. And I can give you a breakdown of that if you wish.
I think it is in the back of the proposal, actually.
Mhm.
Also,
Yeah.
I just want to add, thank you, Aaron. At engineering, we hold a lot of records. We really kept the records for many, many years. We have pretty much like some of the sewer or the drainage that was built sometimes in the 1920s. And we have been really digitalizing most of those files. And as Aaron explained, is how we find those files, right? Because we have to be able to get to that using some keys words when we do the search. So there is really a process, because each drawing the person needs to look at and then be able to use some keywords and label that whoever will be searching for it, like 10 years from now, will be able to find it. And we were able to achieve most of that a few years ago, and then we paused during COVID because the company wasn't able to come to our office even to grab the drawings. And again, we keep as-built of everything that we build on the right-of-way, plus some of the big developments when they do any connections to our system is also we keep those as-builts. So the amount of files that it has been growing that hasn't been scanned in our office is really there. So what we decided to do is try, now the city actually engaged this company to digitalize a lot of files for other departments as well. So we're piggybacking on that, and also we'll be able to use pretty much the same system throughout the departments.
I think it's a very good move. I think it's going to save an awful lot of time, and it'll be a lot more consistent information rather than getting individuals in the staff trying to put this stuff up themselves. So it's all good. Is there a sense that, Barbara, Ann, is there anything that we want to comment about that? Are you guys more not taking a vote on this, but more or less in favor?
Yeah, I would just say it sounds like it's going to be much more efficient. It's going to free people up to be available to do other things.
Yeah.
And if we have the technology and we can purchase this, I think that translates into saving money if it frees people up to do other things. So I would be in favor of this for sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's about efficiency, and anything we can do to improve that, I think is well worth it.
Great. All right, move on to item number B, letter B. Technical correction of the Common Council action February 11th, 2025. The item 7B.1 to add an account number as noted, designated for on-call surveying services. Authorize the Mayor Harry W. Ruling to execute an amendment of February 6th, 2024 agreement between the City of Norwalk and AI Engineers for project PSC 23-1 on-call surveying mapping services. The amendment is to extend the agreement for a period of 1 year, the sum not to exceed $200,000 with an option to extend one additional term for 1 year. Accounts so noted. Is this just to change the account number? You're adding another account. That's
correct. It's just one
that's the
account
only
that we
thing.
didn't have on the original one.
Okay. Letter C, authorize the Mayor Harry W. Ruling to execute a second amendment to the March 11th, 2021 agreement for the transportation and disposal of street sweepings / catch basin grit and broken structural concrete between the City of Newark and the DW Transport and Leasing for an amount not to exceed $150,000. Account so noted. Let me read the second one that goes along with this. Well, no, this is two separate vendors. So the structure of the charges is in the back in the attachments to the package. Is there, in light of what we heard earlier, is there anything that you want to add to that, Vanessa?
This is actually, we already bid this out. This is just really the extension of what we had in the past. So the rates were already there. You guys already approved even the extension, but just because of our transparency, we bring back before even we extend the second year of the contract. We will have a better opportunity to really redo the bid when it's about time, next time that we need to put another RFP out. The reason that is expensive is, yes, they come and they pick it up, whatever we get there, and then they get rid of it. So it is a higher fee due to the material that can be encountered at. I don't know if Chris or Tom want to add more to it.
I have nothing to add, Vanessa. Good job.
Okay. All right, letter D, authorize the mayor, Harry W. Ruling, to execute a second amendment to the February 23rd, 2021 agreement to transportation and disposal of yard waste materials between the city of Norwalk and Wind Waste Innovations, formerly City Carding, for the amount not to exceed $275,000, account noted. And this is basically the same thing as we just talked about. This is just an extension of, or the second half of the contract that we approved and the rate schedule that we approved last year.
That's
Does anybody have
correct.
any-
I think that the only thing that I want to add to it, also to address some of the concerns that was raised at the beginning of the meeting, is that, yeah, we are looking at alternatives. Ideally, we would love to have a place where we could process our yard waste and also our food composting. We do not have that site yet. We don't have the site, and also we do not have a permit to do that. We are being part of Westcog has put together some towns that is part of it to try to look at some options of, and maybe create a authority in the region. It's not something on a short term, but it will be more on a midterm and long term. And one of the things that we mentioned that we are interested would be in create some type of a common yard waste or solid or a food composting site. So as of now, we do not have that option. Unfortunately, we need to haul the material out. We do not have enough space so we can keep really revolving those leaves to compost them. We have been applying for some grants to try to get at least some machine that can help us of maybe creating a small food composting area. But so far we haven't been successful in it, but we're always looking into it.
What do we do with the leaves that are dumped at behind Oak Hills? And is there another place that Oak Hills has just off the golf course that they also dump leaves? Is there two locations?
Oak Hills no longer collects city leaves, at least at that location. We haven't dumped there in 15 years, 20 years. At least from a public works standpoint, since we moved to the new garage from the old garage, Jim. Chairperson Jim.
Do they take it? They compost their own leaves, or do they? What do they do with their leaves from the course? They just pile them up on the side of the golf course someplace, don't they?
Either they vacuum them up or blow them where applicable spots. Where they can do it. You got to remember, part of the golf course is surrounded by wetlands, so I'm pretty sure that they're not blowing any leaves, because that's along North Taylor Avenue is a troubled spot for our drainage that runs behind down to Gillies Lane. So I'm pretty sure that Oak Hills blows a few into probably the surrounding woods. But there's not a lot of spots on Oak Hills, believe it or not, that they can blow leaves. I see them vacuuming them up, and I don't know what they do with them after there. If they left them to our yard debris site, but I couldn't tell you for sure. I could check on that.
I thought they did it off the. I'm trying to think of the hole. I think it's off the 15th hole. Not the 15th, maybe the 14th hole. Is a spot that they put them. I'm not sure though. I'll ask Alan Dutton at the Golf Authority where they, or Jim Shell where they put them. Okay. Anybody have any other questions on this?
Yeah,
Paula?
I just want to we talked about this a couple years ago, I recall, and about the possibility of like, is there any room down on Smith Street? And I just want to confirm this, Vanessa, because we ended up having to give the state an easement for the walk bridge there, and it seems like we've lost some additional space in that area. So it's really, I just want to like confirm, like, there's no way that we could fit something down there, is there?
Well, I thought a couple of years ago, we talked about this and we thought about at the Smith Street yard, but
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Or Tom said that it was just way too small.
As part of the bigger conversation, I think that we've grown out of our current site for a while now. And you got to remember, our waste disposal site for yard debris is right next to our wastewater treatment plant. So we are limited by permit on things that we can do at that site besides just the geographical restraints that we have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I just, because somebody asked me about it recently. And so I just wanted to, just clarify what the issues were there. And we just really don't have any other space anywhere, do we, to consider? Yeah. Okay.
And you have some spots?
Just quick question for Vanessa on the idea of forming an authority with other communities involved, where there could be shared resources or a space that could be used. Is that what stage is that sort of in? Is that like a conversation? Is there any organization around that?
Actually, Westcog is taking the lead on that.
Yeah.
And then the group is talking about it, and there is a consultant that is helping all the communities in the process. Unfortunately, what I see is that sometimes what can be very good for Norwalk is not ideal for New Canaan, and then Stanford may have no interest in joining. So I think that's why it started as a conversation. I think there will be a few options that we have to find common ground and see what will be feasible. But this is a really it's the beginning of a conversation. As I said, I don't think that will be established soon, but it's something that we are exploring and see if it ended up being done up to what level that authority will have and what some of the communities would be willing to join.
Thank you.
Or other is that something other municipalities are in, I shouldn't say in favor of, but it's an acceptable idea that there would be a regional authority that would handle it?
It depends on the subject. That's why it's still we have a lot of conversations. We have almost monthly meetings on that. So for instance, now the city of Norwalk doesn't have any interest on share collection service, because we just engaged in a new contract. So what our position is that we would consider after this contract expire, right? What will be that? So we don't say that we don't want to be part of it, but we would only be able to join in case an authority is formed after we don't have the obligation under the contract that we have. So each municipality has its own things that they need to meet or their desire. Most of the problems that they have, some of them is where they're gonna really haul the material to. So the idea would be to find a place that probably can receive everyone's material on a lower rate. So we're trying to find what will be at least to start, what will be the common ground when all the communities can benefit of it. So that's so we're trying to first identify what are those, and then we're gonna look deep on really evaluating if that is a possibility. So that's what I'm saying. We still have quite some work to do. I believe that probably by early next year, we should have at least a baseline of what was this study about. I'm happy to share. Also, Chris and Tom join me in those monthly meetings.
Okay, great. That's interesting. That sounds stuff like that is got to be we've got to be able to tap into some of the other neighbors that we have because they all face the same situation that we do. And, you know, why not just combine some of our efforts? I think it's a great idea where we can. Any other comments, questions? Great. Okay, letter number 4. I authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute an agreement between the city of Norwalk and Alcade Inc., doing business as A&J Construction for project PM 2025-2 Pavement Management Program, LOCIP reimbursement for a sum not to exceed $1,352,530. And number 2, authorize the Chief of Operations and Public Works to execute orders on a contract with Alcade, doing business as A&J Construction, project number PM 2025-2, Pavement Management Program, LOCIP reimbursement for a sum not to exceed $135,253, and accounts so noted. So this is kind of an interesting item. This is, I believe, from Highland Avenue down to Wilson Avenue, and a couple of side streets off that. But what I found was interesting about this, and I guess is Jim Meehan's here so I can grill him with some questions. As I look through the background of this, I see that the engineering estimate is about $238,000 below what the lowest bidder came in at. Do you want to comment on that?
Well, their estimates, prices do go up around at certain times. It's hard to always estimate exactly what all these are going to be. I don't have it in front of me as to which prices went up, but I do know asphalt prices have been going up in some areas. A smaller job like this, the particular ones, some traditional companies that would generally bid on our large scale projects didn't come out into this one. So we just
Well, actually, when I'm looking at this, grubbing and earth excavation are up, way up. Well, the high density polyethylene pipe is significant increase.
Oh, that's the tariffs right there.
Yeah, and reset box gates, big difference. Percentage wise, I mean, it doesn't seem like it's just the asphalt that's the one that's going
yeah,
up.
not too much.
And to be fair, there's a couple that went down a little bit too, but
Yeah.
um,
When different companies bid for the project, they'll give in their own estimates just to see what they're going to get. So
Yeah, usually we estimate very close to the numbers, and what we use is really
Yeah.
real numbers from what is the average of our last bids, not just the lower one. We average
Yeah.
what people have been bidding on. But again, you know, we bid this one, and unfortunately came a little bit over of what we were expecting. It's not great. We get a little bit below. Probably they are busy, you know, that's the truth. Also, there is not many contractors out there. They're very busy. We have a timeline that we want to get this work also done this year. So there is a premium to get the work done. And unfortunately, when we do this estimate, we try to include some of that, but we do not know how the market will be. Sometimes we're lucky. We got, like, on our last meeting, we had Flexsteel that came much below what we were expecting, because one of the contractors that bid that was much lower than the others, he needs to find a project to do, because he is in between projects, so he needs to put his crew somewhere. And unfortunately, this is something that we cannot estimate. Unfortunately, we got this one wrong.
Well, no, it's not that much. It's, the estimate was low, and I understand, but if I looked at the other two bids, we were all significantly higher. And one, as a matter of fact, is almost $300,000 higher than the winning bid, which is $230,000 higher than the estimate. But so, it's I
One
see
thing that
where
also show on this one is that the numbers are true, because the first to second, the difference is minimal
yeah.
on this one. So, what becomes an issue when we have a lot of big difference in all the prices, and then we have to really look deep. On
Yeah.
this one, we have the first and second pretty much on the same price. Was really for, I believe, few $100, the difference.
A&J has not, they've done work in the past, not for quite some, they haven't really bid for a project for us for quite some time. It would be hard to estimate for someone who hasn't bid for a while. Some of the ones we can estimate based on what they've done, the traditional ones that do lots of work for us, especially if they're large scale project. This is a smaller scale one, which is always harder to predict anyway, because sometimes they will bid up for a lot of that just to profit wise for a smaller scale project.
Right. Now this the company that is the lower bid, that's a company that we haven't used in a while.
But we don't use them. I can, sorry, Jim,
No, sorry.
to cut on that. We work with them in the past. I personally enjoy working with them. They are very good. I'm happy that they bid on this project. They did a few projects for us in the past that were extremely successful.
So you're broadening your base of suppliers.
Yeah, what is good. So I believe that we at the office, right, Jim, we're actually happy to see a different name this time.
Yeah.
It's good to get, we've been happy with the contracts we've had, but it is always good to get different companies bidding.
I mean, that's an important message to get out. I mean, because every one of these things is millions and millions of dollars that we're spending. And if you just, and I'm so happy not to see the same name there all the time. And the more contractors that we can get in, and particularly if we got a good relationship with them, when they have some there's some downtime, maybe they just want to get some to absorb some costs, and they'll come in and do something even cheaper. So that's good. That's great. That's great. A great strategy. Does anybody have any other comments? Any questions? Okay, that's great. That brings us down to our reports. And I see that Tom has, well, anyway, start with Chris on the tree operations and programming. I noticed that there's a significant drop in number of lanternflies that I looked at. So that means you must be cutting down those tree of heaven all over the place.
Not as many as you would think. I think it depends where you live.
I have a lot of
Norwalk.
lantern flies at my house still.
Yeah.
East Norwalk is, I read this is very related to the 95 corridor. I don't know how proximal it is, but we're close to 95 and it's terrible.
I'm in Glengarry and I don't really have any.
Yeah.
But to move on.
Well, of course, now you wouldn't have any because you chop all those trees down around your house.
Jim, my yard is surrounded. feel like I'm in the middle of redwood forest. I love it. But we had 19 removals for the month of June, 9 in the parks, 5 in the schools, and 5 in the city right away. And we had 42 safety prunings, which is a lot. That means that we're removing less trees. 15 in the parks, 12 in the schools, and 15 in the right away to species and locations noted in the backup.
Right.
We were able to save a tree as part of a joint project with DPW. Well, I guess it was our project. We saved a tree on Flats Hill Road that was protested, and we figured out a way around putting the sidewalk down, the bike lanes, having all of those things, and figured it out. working. So I think that's a kudos to the city of Norwalk and especially our department, engineering and operations.
Well, it certainly makes the neighbors happy. So how many trees, do you know off the top of your head, how many trees? So this is a full year that we've gone through now, through June. How many trees you came down last year? And then
We
how
usually
many?
report at the end of the year, Mr. Freyer. We usually give all those metrics, I believe, at the end of the year, right? Or you guys have that number?
We do, no, I don't have it with me, but we do have it. And I can tell you that the last 3 years, we've planted more trees than we've removed,
That's what I thought.
which is a huge leap forward, honestly, in just this short term and in my career especially.
Yeah. That's good. So when do you do the majority of the planting, in the fall?
In the spring, before it gets too hot, and in the fall.
Okay.
So I can get back to you in the September meeting of where we are in planting. I'm not sure if Paul is on this meeting, and he can way better explain than I can about our planting program.
Yeah, maybe we can just talk about that in the fall, because you'll be starting to plant some in the fall, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, great. Any other comments, questions for Chris? Okay, thanks a lot, Chris.
Welcome. Thank you, Chairperson.
Next is Tom Sabo on the solid waste and solid waste report that you gave, and including the food drop-off. And you want to give us an update on that, Tom?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. So I'll start with our monthly transfer station report. A lot of our percentage compared to last year, just about the same. Our recycling is a little bit down and our costs are up. I think we're seeing a little bit lower on our monthly rebate that we receive for our recycling. But I think we always budget for the total cost of it, and that way there we'll end up with a positive percent remaining. So I think maybe in the next coming year, we'll definitely see a potentially decreased rebate on our monthly bills.
That's not good.
But I will say over the past year, it has remained pretty high for overall.
What do you attribute that to?
I think it's a lot of the shifting trade conditions. While some recyclable commodities are sold within the United States, a big portion does go overseas.
So it's not a question of the mix that we have, that it's the market that's changing.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we get a base rebate from the value of paper, which is usually the most stable.
Okay.
So other than the transfer station, we've been continuing to try to remove some recyclable items out of our traditional curbside containers through our partnership with iRecycle. Each event so far this past few months has filled up one entire box truck of cans and bottles.
Really?
So it's been a pretty successful program, and they've actually had to start planning for potentially sending 2 trucks down to accommodate the volume. It's a huge service to residents, and it's amazingly convenient compared to going to a grocery store to redeem your cans and bottles.
All right. It's good. Great.
So that program's been successful. We also have our household hazardous waste collection day coming up. It's going to be, I believe, August 23rd on a Saturday, before the Labor Day weekend. And that's going to be at the Ponus Ridge Middle School, the same place as it was located last year. That location seemed to work much better for traffic flow, space for our contractor to work. So I think we were happy with that, and we look forward to advertising it and welcoming residents to bring all their household hazardous waste to us for
And
proper and safe disposal.
What's the date on that?
I believe it's August 23rd. It should be the last Saturday of the month.
And it's going to be at Ponus again? Did you say?
Yep.
Okay. And what time does that start in the morning?
8 a.m.
Okay, great.
So
Any other comments or questions for Tom? How about in the pilot, I keep calling it a pilot food scrap drop-off program, but it's no longer a pilot, is it?
that's correct. It's now it's going to be a adopted program.
Yeah. So what I was looking at was, I'm always the first one to commend you that this is such a great program, and the fact that we've got tons of compost that we're coming up with. But then I just did some fiddling around with the numbers, and in the first year between 2022, 23 to 23, 24, we were up in Cranberry Park was up 80% over the first year. Rowayton was up 15%. And now in Cranberry this year from 23, 24 to 24, 25, the numbers are great, but the increases have significantly dropped off. So Cranberry is still really healthy at about a 33% increase. And Rowayton is down to about 6.5%. Are you aware of that, or is that something that you may have some idea about, and why those percentages of increases have slowed down so much?
Yeah, certainly. So I think a big portion of it is residents sort of being made aware of the site, and then also sort of building that into their new routine, because a lot of folks don't ordinarily recycle their food scraps. So it's sort of like, another trip on a Saturday morning, or, could be a midday jog in Cranberry Park where you decide to bring your food scraps with you now. So I think through that process, spreading awareness, improving signage and things like that really helped us get up to that sort of place we're at now. And I think we're kind of seeing sort of the plateau of the maybe efficiency and the ease of use from the folks who are around the area that want to recycle their food scraps. So I think, as we had mentioned, I think in the past few meetings, we are sort of looking to expand the program. So if we're able to target the high volume areas where it's very convenient and accessible to a lot of folks, that's where we would see probably more tonnages. And that's where we might see, as opposed to starting out maybe at 11 tons for the first year at Cranberry, maybe we would see like 15 or 20 if we were to put it maybe at like the firehouse on Connecticut Ave or something like that, where it's much more dense and accessible to more residents.
But wouldn't those percentages be going up every year the more everybody learns? I mean, so Rowayton is only 6.5% as opposed to 15%. So the percent of increase keeps going down. Is that
some
just
people-
because it's capacity? It's
Some
everybody's
people-
working. Go ahead. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, Chris.
I'm
Go
sorry,
ahead.
Chairperson. Some people in Rowayton have bought their own and they compost on their own because it was such a successful. And like Vanessa said earlier, we're looking for a vessel that we can put somewhere and produce our own food composting, or a few years from now, incorporating it into our refuse collection program. There's lots of ways to go. But again, it has to be a manned site. We have limitation and restrictions of where we can put the bins. We can't just put them anywhere. It has to be a manned site. So like at the fire department, like Tom said, that's a great idea, or whoever said it. Because you have to remember, there used to be an oil drop-off site at the firehouse on Connecticut Avenue, and that was taken away when they built the new fire department. I get it, but if we can find a little spot there to put a a wooden structure where people can pull into the parking lot and unload their food composting, that would be great. I'm gonna leave it up to you to talk to the chief about that, though.
So, Chairman, also I think that just to pick up on what they said is particularly Rowayton, one thing that we notice is that yes, now the trend is for people to compost. So I think that when it started, people start taking their food somewhere, and now they can either do on their backyard, or some of them actually have food composting collection service. We know because our own contractor told us that it has increased the amount of collection that he has been doing. So some of the people would prefer to be collected, pay privately to do that.
How much do they have to pay per household? Do you have any idea?
I mean, I don't know. I don't wanna put a number out there without knowing.
So we're building up the program, we're advertising it so somebody else can come and collect money for it.
Well,
guess we have-
remember our goal is to really minimize the solid
Yeah.
waste that we have to deal with it. So
Right.
if the person is able to compost on their own, if they want to pay a third party, that's why we're offering so many alternatives program. And I believe that one of the reasons why also the recycle is coming down, it is because now at 10 cents a bottle, people are not just putting any more in the bin. They are either bringing to the grocery store and selling it. We see that all the time, people digging in somebody else's bins, trying to collect those garbage, I mean the water bottles and those
Yeah.
things. So I think that for us as the city, because of the high cost of getting rid of all the solid waste, it is a good thing. The idea is that people are doing, we're just trying to find alternatives on how you process your solid waste.
Mhm. Okay, great. So the bottom line is that we're reducing the solid waste. And so whether it's being picked up by us or dropped off to us or picked up by somebody else, it doesn't make any difference. We are still
Correct.
benefiting.
Our goal is to minimize the total tonnage that we process on our end, because that can keep the costs lower
Right.
from the city
Good.
side.
Any other comments or questions on that? I guess the only other, I'm sorry, I don't mean to rush that.
We
Any
still have
involved?
I
Yeah.
would like to give the item B, the solid waste collection rollout update. If I can have just a couple of minutes to talk
Sure.
about it so people understand where we are. First, I want to praise Tom. He has been working very hard for the last 3 months, pretty much every single weekend and every late nights to try to get the program the way it is. And also Winways, that they have been really a partner and they have been helping us a lot. I know there is still a little bit of a growing pain, but I would say that we just finished our first month, right? And we are able to pretty much have the full eligible list of all the units that we can service. Is it 100%? Probably not, but we are very close to it. And at least now I think that not only the residents, but the commercial and the mixed use understand where we were and all that. I think that this past month was kind of a lesson learned about who is eligible and who is not. We didn't receive as many extra cart requests as expected. I believe that we didn't have more than 100 that call, and I don't think that we didn't even got 50 or 60 that paid for those yet. We believe that we're going to see an increase in the next coming weeks, and I'll explain why. Starting yesterday, we start not collecting garbage if it was misplaced. So if you're not following the program, we gave you pretty much a month as the grant period, but starting yesterday, Winways has not been collecting the garbage from who does not qualify, or if you're not placing on the right bin, or if you have an extra bin that is not the bin that has to be purchased. We have been tagging all those bins. So of course we receive a lot of calls. of people that received the tags, and we learned late last night that most of the people, just to give you a little bit of numbers, Monday and Tuesday is our hardest collection sites because we go to areas where it's very well populated and there is a lot of mixed use and business. So we know that Monday and Tuesday is usually the time of the week that there will be less compliance. But yesterday, Winways was about to collect close to 2,500 units, and we tagged 228 units, beams that we didn't pick up. So even on our worst day, we have a 90%, over a little bit, 90% of people in compliance. I know that sometimes seems a lot, 228, but again, the idea is to get them in compliance ASAP. We went one by one on every single address to try to understand why we have to give out all those many stickers. And for our surprise, most of them actually they do have a bin. They didn't use it. So they placed the garbage in the old bin. So I think that this is a way out. Unfortunately, we didn't pick up their garbage yesterday. It's not ideal scenario, but we know that we have to now really draw the line so we can make everybody understand how it is going. Today, again, I didn't get the numbers for today yet, but I believe that we're going to go through another hard day today, and we are seeing Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday a little bit better. More because we'll be serving more just residential areas on those days. So overall, I think that I appreciate everyone's effort and patience. I think that we're almost there. I believe that the month of August will be a month where if we need to do any minor adjustments, we will. But I think that we are now moving forward to that. Also, I want to say that, as I mentioned, that Westcog is taking the lead with all these other municipalities about talking about the garbage, the future of garbage for the region. And all the other municipalities, they were praising what Norwalk is doing. So I think that, as I mentioned before, it's not a easy process. It has been a painful process for everybody to go through it. But I think that we're going to be really the leader on how we're going to deal with collection and how we can keep the cost in a way that we can manage on serving the residents and not affect the increase of the taxes.
I think that's great. I think that that's a great opportunity that, to get out to the taxpayers that, what we're doing is going to save them money in the long run. And the more compliant they are, the more money we're going to be able to save, and the more efficient we're going to be. Anne, you had something to add?
Yeah, I just want to thank you, Vanessa. I know there have been I'm going to lower my hand, growing pains here, and I appreciate the complexity and the enormity of how this process has rolled out. And I know we talked about sort of messaging and communicating with the public, because I am still getting feedback on the price of the second container or the second bin. Many constituents are expressing that it feels cost prohibitive to them, even with the rationale that you've put forward and the reasoning. So I'm just wondering if we could think together about some messaging or to kind of help people understand what that cost encompasses, because I don't know about Jim and Barbara, but I'm definitely getting that feedback.
Sure. So, one thing that we have been asking is that if you guys can ask them to direct the questions to customer service, we prepare a whole prompt for them. So pretty much they have a Q&A that they can most likely answer most of the common questions. We meet with them at least once a week. And if we realize that there is few other questions that people now is concerned about it, we try to address that as well. Again, pretty much the cost of the bin, I know that the number looks high, but it's not really a high number. And I think that the best way for you to explain to your constituents is that as of today, we are able to serve with the minimum fee that is charged on the meal rate with
Mhm.
one bin per unit. And if we have to add more, instead of increasing the taxes to everyone, we are trying just to make it local. So the way that I see, imagine is your water consumption, right? If you're on a family of 5, you're gonna use much more water, so you're gonna pay accordingly. If you're just one in the person, your fee will be much lower. So pretty much, let's say the rate, the minimum rate is already for your one bin. Your extra bin is that extra that there is more usage of it. So, and it's exactly, we are really breaking even on the cost of really processing that garbage for 2 years.
So if you said, if it goes, another way to look at it is that to pick up one bin takes 3 minutes to pick it up, throw it in there. But if you have 2 bins now, you have the cost of the additional bin plus 3 more minutes of somebody's time. And it doesn't sound like much, but if you start figuring out how that truck has to stop 3 more minutes on a route, that means that you know, that route is gonna just take that much longer and it's gonna be that much more expensive.
Plus the weight of the garbage, we pay
Right.
about 100 and close to 108, I think, to dispose it. So each family, a regular family of 4 gets close to a full ton a year, just on garbage. So that's why, you know, so the quick math here is 100 per year times 200 plus $82 for the bin, 282. We're
Right.
charging 300. We're not even considering the extra time and the extra cost for the second bin, the administration fee to get it delivery and all that. Now, again, another way of explaining is if they have a private service, it will cost also probably a little more than it is the second bin. And so, and they're gonna just buy it once, right? Because even though we're just covering the cost for 2 years, that is their bin. Unless if the city changed the way that we're gonna end up charging for garbage in the future.
I was talking to a constituent today. He said that he's in West Newark. He's on sewers. He's on septic system, so he doesn't get collection. But he pays his private hauler $450 a year.
Mm.
So $450 a year for one
bin.
can, one big bin. Not, maybe he has 2, but they're still, it's not as much as our one single bin is, weight wise. So, you know, the $450 versus $350 is, you know, we're still doing it a lot cheaper. Does that sound right? $450?
For private,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Barbara, you have
don't-
private?
I don't-
you
No,
go
I
to
don't. No, I don't.
So it's usually depending on where we are, it's about like $60 to $70 a month, depending on.
Yeah.
Some can be less, depending. I think that on the private, they give you different options of service. So anyhow, so it's still, again, the cities is still,
Right.
of course, a little cheaper, but we are trying to keep like that. And again, the operating cost under public works, that is the biggest cost that we have today is solid waste.
Yeah.
So we are trying to really keep it's in an effort to keep everyone's taxes low.
Okay, does that make them
Hopefully,
happy?
if the market changes, right? If the market starts changing, garbage is not anymore an issue. But again, it's an environmental problem. There is no incinerator in Connecticut anymore, pretty much. All the hauling fees, this material is being bring to landfills in the middle of the country. So that's why the hauling cost of garbage is extremely high. And that's why I go back and say the goal is really to minimize how much garbage a person can produce.
Do you ever foresee us collecting trash from some of those people that are connected to sewers that are or not connected to sewers and septics?
Yes, in 2 years, you
Yes.
guys have the plan to vote on it. That's what's part of this plan. We, instead of, that will, to be honest, will make, I would say, Tom's life and Chris' life much easier, because then, you know, everybody besides business, you know, we're never gonna recommend go back to commercial, but on the residential, yes, and maybe we'll be able to renegotiate a little bit of the fee. We do have the prices for that already on how much would be, but we'll talk about it in 2 years. We're not ready to talk about that now.
I've had enough trouble talking about it this year then.
Right, exactly. We have enough.
Okay, great. Do you want to say anything about September 20, what is it, 20?
I don't know if you want the project status for all the construction projects.
Oh,
that
yeah, I
Jim-
forgot. I'm sorry. Sorry, Jim, I just.
That's quite all right. Great, no problem. So, yeah,
didn't
just
see you there
give
for
you,
a second.
not a problem. We're involved in a lot of construction right now. I'll start off with Grumman Avenue. We paved from Live Oak Road all the way down to Ellen Street, making our way down to Newtown Avenue. And sidewalks have been installed both sides of the street from around Mohawk down to, also down to Ellen. Again, they have started to work from Ellen down to Newtown Avenue. So they've started a bunch of prep work down there. They'll be putting in the excavating for the sidewalk areas and then paving. And then over on Flax Hill, they're also underway. We have two contractors over there doing on Flax Hill, doing the two separate locations. One of them is going down from Highland, working its way down to Arbor Drive, and they're about halfway down by Scribner now. And the other contractor is working, as you know, in conjunction with SNU to install water mains as well. So they're actually working a considerable amount of that first, which would make sense that would have to be the first thing they're doing with that. But that is, they are both contractors are well underway, and they're making pretty good progress as far as we can see. And in the area of West Avenue and Berkeley, the contractors out there is prepping. There's going to be a lot of paving in that area. They're prepping a lot of it. They've already installed, as you know, a lot of sidewalks within the Berkeley area, the side streets around that. And they're prepping a lot of West Ave and the rest of Berkeley as well, in preparation for a lot of paving within that area, which they're hoping to get to that in soon. Beacon is finished. Beacon Avenue is finished in terms of the new sidewalks. Yes, working away from Sunset Hill down all the way down to Strawberry Hill, and we've installed a number of service lines for the sanitary service lines for a lot of homes that were required for that, and in preparation for the WPCA project for this sanitary main installation. Once all that's complete, then paving will come sometime next year. And on Heather and Lockwood, the drainage project, as you know, all the drainage is complete on that. We've done everything that needs to be done. They're finishing up punch list items right now. A few things they should be done with that probably by the end of this week, because we don't anticipate too much weather problems. Then the next thing for Heather and Lockwood is to plan for the permanent patching, which they're looking to schedule that for certain areas need to get permanent patches in preparation for eventual paving. The permanent patches will probably be installed sometime in early fall, just schedule wise. So that's really most of our major stuff that's going on right now at the moment.
Can I just ask a question? What's going on Broad Street? Does that, there's these two like massive, it might have something to do with, the Metro North had.
Yes, it's related to the work that they're gonna do at
related to what they're
136. Yes, they are probably, because that is their site. They actually own that right of way, so usually they stack some of their equipment there. So it's supposed to be closed overnight this week, 136, because
or 123.
the 136 because of the cross of the tracks there.
Yeah, no, we knew that, and it was closed over the weekend, which was
Yes.
interesting. No, but it's
But
overall.
we have, unfortunately, we have no say, but sometimes they
I know.
keep the things on Broad. We are not doing any projects there.
Okay, so it must have been, and I was wondering, yeah, I had a feeling it was related to that somehow, but you know,
Yeah, sometimes they use that as their staging area, that area on
it's like
Broad.
there's like, I don't know, 10-foot wide, like dugout ditches in the asphalt of the road. It's really 2 of them. It's weird.
I'll check unless if it is anything related to some of the utilities. I have to check with plans,
be,
Barbara,
yeah.
but it's not
Yeah,
any of our own
Yeah,
projects.
no, I didn't think so, but I just was curious if you knew what it was.
No, but I can find out. One thing related back to that I want to mention that we have been receiving a lot of questions, even from council members, is related to the Lockwood sidewalks. I just want to explain what happens is that when we did the drainage project at Heather, we did that project and then we have not yet implemented the complete street design. And as you guys know, after we finish all the infrastructure projects, after is when we do the paving, and that's when we do the sidewalk. So now we are about to complete the project. So for next year, we need to look into paving there. By the complete street design guidelines, we are supposed to now add sidewalks. So we have started already, of course, doing some field investigation to figure it out how we're going to put that in. And I know that triggered a lot of questions to the residents. A lot of the residents on Lockwood, they are not in support of the installation of sidewalks. That's why they have been contacting some council members and us directly. One thing that I just want to clarify is that we do not have plans yet. It is in the process of, although they saw some people out there and trying to really kind of do some measurements, we are not hiding anything from anybody. We asked Ty and Bond, that was the designer of the original drainage project, to help us with the design of the sidewalk, because our goal is to not have to change any of the drainage that we have just installed to accommodate the sidewalk. So they already have those records, so they would be the best person to do that design. Most likely, we're gonna have this design wrap up around the fall, and our goal is to hold a public information session with the neighborhood. The same thing that we did at McAllister. McAllister, right? That was the name of the
McAllister,
street.
Francis, and Richmond Hill Road. Yeah.
Right. So we did the same there, where we go with as soon as we have this concept drawing, we're gonna invite them over. We're gonna show them the design, and then we'll hear what are the comments, and then take in consideration if we need to do any changes to it. But I just want to make a statement that as of now, we do not have a design. You know, of course, there is always an idea. When we start a project, we have to at least like cut things at the front on an aerial that we have to try to figure out where it fits. People go there and do field measurements, but there is nothing yet for us to share. As soon as we have, we'll be happy to do it. We are happy to meet the neighborhood and understand what are their concerns. And of course, you know, this is a project, TMP takes the lead on all the sidewalk installation, because they are the ones that take the lead on complete street design guidelines. So we are just kind of making sure that we're gonna follow when we pave the roads. Even though if we have a final design, there will be no work there this year at all. We also need to get that whole package completed. We have to bid it out and then get someone to do it. So the earliest that would happen would be kind of a spring of next year. So I just want to clarify that in case you guys are also getting some questions.
Good. Jim, have you know, there's one person in Rowayton who I know keeps writing to you about paving Roten Avenue, and the drainage has got to be addressed before that. And you keep going back and telling him that the Corps of Engineers has not gotten back. Is there any idea of how long that's going to take?
It's not the Corps of Engineers, it's Connecticut Deep because it is a
Or
state
Connecticut,
wetlands.
yeah.
Yeah, yes, no, yeah, we have reached out to them. We have a layout of the sidewalk. Know what we're going to do. We have a good idea of what drainage that we want to do. In all honesty, we just I don't want to push the state too much because but I gotta find. I'll try to get an update on that. We try to get up to once in a while, but right now it is basically out of our hands. Because this we can't implement the drainage. We have to implement the drainage measures. Or we let me rephrase that. We should implement the drainage measures first, because if we don't, we just simply go out and pave the road. We could have flooding on the road and bad rainstorm. That's obviously something we always want to try to avoid. So, unfortunately, because of the physical characteristics of the road, drainage capacity is limited. So my staff came up with a good concepts of what we can do to try to utilize as much as we can. It will involve areas within the state wetlands, and that's not something that we can just go ahead and do, as I'm sure you understand, Mr. Vera, with unless we get the state's approval. So I have not heard anything recently. I will reach out again, try to get an update. I would prefer not to do that too often because just out of sheer courtesy to the state, who've been very good with us in the past, or working with us on a lot of projects. So I don't anticipate any too many issues with this, but not something that I could just simply put on the shelf, waiting for
Yeah.
this. But yes, I
Okay.
have been responding to the resident. I understand, I appreciate his concerns. We'd like to see that done. We're ready with a plan. We just want to make sure that what we're actually proposing is going to work and not going to cause a flooding issue in the area.
Right. No, I appreciate that. And you've been really good about responding to that guy. And everybody always thinks that their issue is the top issue in the city. So
I don't
appreciate
knock
it.
anyone for any resident for saying I'd like to see this done on my street. I mean, I know we're all homeowners. We'd like to see make sure that our infrastructure is taken care of. We do the best we can. We have to prioritize things in the city. It's just a requirement, especially a big city like Norwalk. We'll try to get around to. I actually do have a lot of residents who are calling up asking about if their issues are going to be resolved, and these are not issues that we're ignoring either. We're putting them on a list. We just have to prioritize the importance of what it is that we're doing.
Yeah. No, I understand that. So thank you very much for being so accommodating.
That's why we're
Anything
here.
else? That's why you're here. I think the last thing did you want to mention anything about the Touch a Truck and open house?
Yeah, so we already came up with a date. We always hold that is one of the biggest event that we have in the city. It's always a good set date to show what we are doing, and the guys are excited about it. We do with the fire and now the police, right, Chris? I believe that usually we have about thousands of people that comes, and we pick up, I believe, September 27, right?
That's right. And I think our highest total since we've been doing it combined with emergency services has been about 3,700 people
Really?
at the garage, and offering wastewater treatment plant tours and just people learning about the city and the various groups. It's expanded where we're actually have to turn some people away that want to participate. And just throwing it out there that DPW staff, because this was our event, our volunteers, all of the staff that you see working that day that are part of Public Works at least are volunteers. I'm not sure about emergency services, but with our group, they all love doing it, and they come up with different ideas to make it better every year. And we're going to do a great job of advertising it this year, and hopefully we get a big attendance.
Great. That sounds like it'd be a lot of fun.
September 27th?
Yep.
Okay.
9 a.m.
I can't believe it's
9
a
to
year
12. I can't
already.
believe it.
It's football season.
It's such a great event.
So
Is there
we're
adequate
gonna,
parking down there?
yes,
Is there?
we are able to park everybody.
Okay.
They have like the
borrow the
police.
lot next behind the salt shed. They're
Yeah.
kind enough to let us park along the road there, and we do cram them in.
Good. I look forward to it. It's going to be fun.
Me too.
Okay, is there any other comments? Any other, anybody want to make a motion?
We don't
Or we
need
can't
one.
make a motion. We don't
We
need a
don't need
motion.
one. We can just say goodbye. We can just say goodnight.
All right,
Good
listen,
night,
everybody. Have a
everybody.
great week. Take it easy.
Good night.
Bye. Good night.